College game day will be in Lincoln this week as the Huskers take on the 5th-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes. And currently the Huskers are a 17.5-point underdog in this matchup. And a big reason why is because Ohio State is 3rd in the country in both scoring offense and scoring defense, scoring an average of 55 points per game while only giving up an average of 9 points per game, which is a daunting statistic to look at if you're the Huskers. But on the bright side, Nebraska is going to be the toughest opponent Ohio State has faced all season long. And there are 3 factors for me in this game. 1, for Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields, this will be his first true road test as a collegiate quarterback. Yes, the Buckeyes took on Indiana on the road a couple of weeks ago, but Indiana is nothing compared to Nebraska, especially with this sold-out crowd in prime time with game day being in town. The Husker fans are going to make it pretty tough for Justin Fields. And the second element I think that will determine the winner of this game is going to be Ohio State's running game versus Nebraska's defense. In last year's game in the Horseshoe, J.K. Dobbins had 163 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. In the 10 Big Ten Conference games Nebraska has played so far in the Scott Frost era, they're giving up an average of 226 rushing yards per game and 3 touchdowns. The one outlier to those 10 games was last year's game against Northwestern. But even if you take out that outlier, in the 9 other Big Ten Conference games they've played in the Scott Frost era, they're still giving up an average of 247 rushing yards per game. So that's going to be a huge battle within the game. And the third key factor I think is going to take place in this game is which team is going to convert on 3rd down the most. Which team is going to be able to sustain drives. Ohio State is currently converting 50% of their 3rd downs, while opposing offenses are only converting 23% of the time on 3rd down against this Buckeyes defense. Nebraska is converting 45% of their 3rd downs. And another factor I think for Nebraska, if they want to win this game, one, I think it's going to be the obvious. You got to play mistake-free football. It seems like every single week I'm talking about turnovers committed by the Huskers. The Huskers have turned the ball over in every single game so far this season. And last week, they managed to get 673 total yards of offense against Illinois. But the thing that prevented them from dominating the game was those 4 turnovers. And Illinois was able to cash in on all 4 of those turnovers. So that was the one factor of Nebraska not dominating last week. Statistically, you would expect them to dominate with 673 total yards of offense compared to only giving up 299 total yards to your opponent. But those 4 turnovers and your opponent being able to cash in on all 4 of those turnovers, that is the only thing that prevented Nebraska from dominating. But if you want to beat a team like the Ohio State Buckeyes, you've got to play mistake-free football. And a big key for Nebraska is try to score early. Try to at least assert yourself that you can move the football on this Buckeyes defense. Try to get your crowd into it early by scoring an early touchdown. Try to create a trick play to get the momentum going on your side. However, as far as my final score goes, what sticks out to me in predicting this final score is what happened last year. Last year, Ohio State only won 36-31 on their field. And what prevented Nebraska from not winning that game? They got off to a good start last year. And if they can get off to a good start again this year, I think the Huskers will be able to have a good chance of winning this time around. But I think Ohio State picks up a 41-34 victory. I think Nebraska keeps this close from start to finish. I think if they can stay in the game in the 4th quarter, they're going to have a good chance to win. If this goes into a battle of the trenches, they're going to have a good shot. But the thing that worries me is Ohio State jumping out to an early lead, like 14-0, 21-0. But Nebraska, they don't have to They don't have to get aggressive early on. They can try to get into the game. They can try to stay in it. Then assert your trick plays in the second quarter. So that is my prediction. It's going to be a good one, I think. I can't see this being a blowout. But if one or two things went differently last year, Nebraska probably would have won. And it wouldn't surprise me if Nebraska won this time around. But I just don't see it happening, despite Ohio State not playing good on the road at least one time a season. Last year was against Purdue. 2 years ago was against Iowa. I think it's a little too early in the season for the Buckeyes to slip up on the road. I think it'll be close, though, but Ohio State picks up the 41-34 win at the end of the night. So that is my prediction. Like, share, and subscribe. I will see you next time.